The late match of Round 2 in the 2025-26 Premier League treated fans to a football feast as Newcastle hosted reigning champions Liverpool at the fiery St James Park. This was a showdown between two teams that ranked in the middle of the Champions League places last season, and it served as a test of character for both in the early stages of the new campaign. And then everyone witnessed a match that had all the ingredients to become an early classic of the season: a stunning goal, a controversial red card, a breathtaking chase, resilience, and a dramatic finale marked by a historic moment from a young talent. This is Premier League football, where nothing is impossible. Right from the very first minutes, St James Park turned into a real cauldron of fire. The atmosphere was no different from a cup final, as more than 50,000 home fans kept singing passionately, giving Eddie Howe and his men an extra surge of strength. With that momentum, Newcastle entered the game brimming with intensity, pressing high and showing no hesitation in physical duels to pile pressure on Liverpool's defence. Every successful challenge or spell of sustained pressure was celebrated by the stands as if it were a goal. Despite being the reigning Premier League champions, Liverpool looked rather shaky at the start. They tried to play more directly, relying on long balls from Alisson and set-piece situations to ease the pressure. But overall, the early game was clearly tilted in Newcastle's favour. In the 13th minute, Florian Wirtz tried his luck with a dangerous long-range shot, forcing Nick Pope into a save. By the 28th minute, Newcastle had a golden opportunity. Harvey Barnes broke free down the left, outpaced Szoboszlai, and delivered a pinpoint cross. Gordon rushed in for a powerful header, but the ball flew over the bar, leaving the entire stadium in deep frustration. The question lingered: had it been Alexander Isak in that position, would the goal have come? But just as Newcastle were dominating, a sudden turning point arrived in the 35th minute. Ryan Gravenberch picked up the ball outside the box and unleashed a thunderous strike from over 30 metres. The ball took a slight deflection, skimmed the post, and flew straight into the net, leaving Nick Pope helpless. A moment of brilliance gave Liverpool a 1-0 lead, despite the fact that they had been under heavy pressure for most of the game. The closing minutes of the first half grew even more intense. In the 44th minute, Dan Burn repeatedly fouled Mohamed Salah and was shown a yellow card. Just a minute later, Anthony Gordon made a reckless challenge on Van Dijk. Referee Simon Hooper initially showed a yellow card, but after VAR review, it was upgraded to a straight red. Newcastle not only lost a player, but also their only temporary attacking outlet. The first half ended with Liverpool holding a 1-0 lead. From being the side on top and creating chances, Newcastle had pushed themselves into trouble with a moment of hot-headedness. St James Park, which had been roaring with energy, suddenly sank into anxiety as the home side faced the second half with only 10 men on the pitch. And Newcastle were dealt another blow right at the start of the second half in a central attacking move. Cody Gakpo slipped a pass through to Hugo Ekitike, who found himself in acres of space. The £79 million signing made no mistake, producing a precise finish to double Liverpool's lead to 2-0. 2 goals in 2 matches. From being doubted, Ekitike is now proving exactly why he carries such a hefty price tag. With nothing left to lose, Eddie Howe instructed his players to push forward, attacking even more aggressively than in the first half. St James Park erupted once again, with fans rising to their feet to fuel the 10 men on the pitch. Dan Burn was pushed up as an improvised striker, constantly making runs into the box and using his height advantage as the main target for crosses from both flanks. Bruno Guimaraes turned into the true conductor in midfield, while Anthony Elanga used his pace to stretch Liverpool's defence. Newcastle's attacking approach was simple and direct, yet highly effective. Liverpool suddenly found themselves on the back foot. Arne Slot's men struggled to build up play, as every time Newcastle won the ball back, they immediately pushed it out wide and whipped crosses into the box. Alisson became the standout figure of the second half, repeatedly showcasing his reflexes, from close-range headers to Bruno's long-range strikes. The image of the Brazilian goalkeeper shouting to reorganize his backline highlighted just how much pressure Liverpool were under. In the 57th minute, the relentless pressure finally paid off, even though Newcastle were temporarily down to 9 men with Tonali receiving treatment off the pitch. Livramento launched a long throw-in and the ball was worked back into the box. Guimaraes showed incredible determination as he outmuscled Milos Kerkez and powered a close-range header to beat Liverpool. It was poor defending from the visitors, but an electrifying moment that sparked the stadium, Newcastle's first goal of the new season. Liverpool tried to regain control by keeping the ball with short passes and slowing the tempo. However, Slot's men looked unsettled, unable to show their usual composure. The second half was played at a breathless pace. Despite being a man down, Newcastle played as if they had a 12th player pushing from the stands. Every attack carried danger, forcing Liverpool's defence to stay on edge like a tightened string. At this point, the match had gone far beyond tactical battles, it became a clash of spirit, resilience, and belief, and Newcastle were clearly proving they were not a side to be easily subdued. When the clock struck the 88th minute, the eruption finally came. William Osula, a name rarely mentioned as Newcastle's main striker, etched his mark with an ice-cold finish. From a free kick deep in their own half, goalkeeper Nick Pope launched a long ball forward. Dan Burn, towering over Konate, nodded it down intelligently. Osula broke through Liverpool's backline, kept his composure, and calmly slotted past Alisson to level the score at 2-2. It was a simple yet highly effective goal, sparking a stunning comeback for Newcastle. In the closing minutes, the Magpies virtually camped inside Liverpool's box, with Dan Burn transformed into a true target man, repeatedly rising high to contest aerial duels. Though fatigued, Elanga still poured his heart out with explosive runs down the flank and dangerous crosses into the box. Under such relentless pressure, coach Arne Slot was forced to make a bold decision. He took off Curtis Jones and Cody Gakpo, bringing on Harvey Elliott and 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha. It was an all-in gamble. Either Liverpool would collapse from inexperience, or they would find a spark of brilliance. And then, in the 100th minute, history called the teenager's name. On a swift counter-attack, Salah drove the ball forward before laying it across to Szoboszlai, who cleverly let it run through for Ngumoha. Unshaken by the pressure of the grand stage, Ngumoha positioned himself perfectly and curled a precise shot past Nick Pope, sealing a 3-2 victory for Liverpool in an eruption of emotion. The Reds rushed toward the stands in celebration, while Ngumoha himself broke down in joy within the embrace of his teammates. It was a symbolic moment, from rising star to instant hero, the torch of the Cop's future shining brightly on a dramatic night. Liverpool secured a thrilling 3-2 win thanks to the composure of their established stars and the timely brilliance of a young talent. Newcastle, though defeated, could still hold their heads high after a performance full of courage and fighting spirit. St. James Park erupted, one side in heartbreak, the other in ecstasy, but all shared the same feeling: they had just witnessed a masterpiece of football. Virgil van Dijk, known for his calm demeanor and rarely showing too much emotion after matches, was no different today. Speaking to Sky Sports, the Dutch centre-back said that everyone knows playing at St. James Park is never easy. This week, several factors seemed to fuel Newcastle even more. So what happened on the pitch was, in many ways, predictable. We're disappointed to have conceded twice from set pieces. That should never happen. But overall, these are 3 fantastic points. And now the whole team needs to focus on the next game. Liverpool's captain also expressed his delight for 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha. I'm genuinely happy for Rio. I told him the most important thing is to always work hard and stay humble. But at the same time, he has to enjoy moments like this. At his age, you can't take nights like these for granted. And I'm sure with the group of players we have, tomorrow Rio will be back on the training pitch, working hard again. Liverpool's 3-2 victory at St. James Park earned them all 3 points and reaffirmed the mentality of champions. However, the Cop also revealed defensive frailties when put under Newcastle's relentless pressure, an issue manager Arne Slot will surely need to address if the title defence is to remain on track. Still, maintaining a perfect winning record and, above all, the faith placed in young talent added a bright note to the road ahead. Most memorably, Rio Ngumoha's match-winning goal at just 16 years old will be remembered as one of the standout moments of the season. The match has ended, but its echoes still linger. Football is not only about wins and losses, but also about emotion, storytelling, and those soaring moments when history can be written in the blink of an eye.